Manchester United have entered the race for Hugo Ekitike for €100 million. Rubbish. No, I'm joking, but really, it is an absolute load of baloney. Because let's think about this for a second. United have made a whole pizzazz about targeting the ideal striker of choice in Victor Gyökeres. I'm starting to get my Victors mixed up now. There's also the Osherman, but Gyökeres is the man that the club well and truly want. But according to this afternoon, in accordance to Plettigol and other German outlets, Hugo Ekitike now has a new suitor approaching, a new challenger approaches, and that is in the form of Manchester United. And let's just crunch the numbers here a little bit, right? Let's just shrink the maths here. Gyökeres, with the gentleman's agreement, was a very good deal, was a very good price for the most informed striker in the top flight leagues in Europe. Even with the rubbishing of that, and add an extra 20 mil onto that to make it like about an €80 million ballpark fee, even that is sort of worth doing if it is a proven goal scorer that you're trying to get. That you can see a world where that's, sure, it's a lot of money, but for a club that needs to do the must-do business, is worth doing. It's absolutely worth doing. In United's case, needs a must. And Victor Gyökeres is one of those. But nah, let's not do that. Let's chase an Eintracht Frankfurt striker for €20 million on top of that, and is already linked to other rivals who are actively trying to figure out the best way to do that deal, and who is not nearly as good as Gyökeres or Osherman for that matter, and the very simple fact that he's way more expensive. That to me doesn't really add up. I can't understand why anybody would be looking to do that sort of a deal. And where United are already talking about money troubles or struggles to doing the Gyökeres deal or the Osherman deal, with Hugo Ekitike all of a sudden, well, money's no longer an issue now, even though it's more expensive. It's not as much of an issue now. Ah, come on, it's a rubbish. It's a nonsense story. We know it's a nonsense, and to be quite frankly honest, he's not quite as prolific as United will perhaps need, right? Gyökeres is much more proven that he's lethal. I'd say a lot more lethal in front of goal. This is not to discredit Ekitike as a bad striker, but when you've had last season a strike force of Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee, and every time Zirkzee played, he was significantly better than Højlund. To go from that to Ekitike is quite underwhelming. Quite underwhelming. But jump from that to Victor Gyökeres or Osherman, that's saying something. That really is a statement. And Manchester United right now need to think about statements, right? And not PR statements. I'm talking about statements of intent, action. Words are done. We're finished with words. It's about the plan of action and bringing it to fruition. So, Gyökeres, yes, please. Osherman, if we can do a reasonable deal there. If for any reason Gyökeres isn't possible, yes, please. Ekitike, WTF, absolutely not. Not at that price. And yeah, let's get Mbeumo done, please, United. I beg, sort that deal out. We can start talking about selling some players, and then we can focus on bringing the striker into the club, and then onwards to other important areas of the team. Because as far as I'm concerned, open heart surgery is still on the table, and we still need to do it. So that's where I'm at with this. But EKITIKE United for 100 million. Sorry, plenty gold. Sometimes you're good. It's kind of like that. I can't remember who it was. Was it Gattuso who said it? Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. That is kind of the way that we feel about Florian Plettenberg at the moment with this report. Um, Sometimes he's hit it on the money, other times he's really missed the trick. It really makes zero sense that this should at all be the case. What it most likely is, in its simplistic terms, is another club or another asset has put Manchester United into the heads of, or into the ears of everybody as well, right? Because you hear that name and people react, even if it even though people don't really react on a pitch to that name anymore. In the transfer market, where business is still quite prevalent, United have already showed their hand as to what sort of business they're looking to do, and you know that they're desperately in need for a striker. So you're trying to sell a striker, get some big bucks for it. What better way to get people to dial the heat up a little bit than to include the name of a club that's trying to find a striker, desperately trying to find a striker. So to me, it's just all about the drumming of interest and getting people to sit down and start having conversations again and get things, get the ball rolling a little bit before the situation becomes a bit too stagnant and people get bored of chasing after EKITIKE. But anyways, let's see what happens. There was a short update with Victor Gyökeres, which I think is also rubbish, about Arsenal have been throwing bids left, right, and centre. Apparently, Gyökeres and like, oh well, they've sent an official proposal, and they expected Sporting to reject it. Two things: if that was to be true, then the Sesko deal is dead. The Sesko deal isn't dead because nobody said it is. So the target for Arsenal is still very much Sesko, and Gyökeres is, you could say, plan B. That's the priority list. Why would they be progressing and getting the deal for Gyökeres progressed and done before even registering that they pulled out of negotiations with Sesko? Unless that is something there that perhaps they might try to play that as a way of getting Leipzig to actually conduct business for the sale of Sesko. Play ball a little bit more. But yeah, that's where we're at with the striker conversations at the moment. The nonsense of EKITIKE linked to Manchester United, as well as the fake official offer from Arsenal that got insta rejected. All a bit of a nonsense. Fabrizio Romano has just confirmed, allegedly, don't know if he's actually said it himself, that Sporting are looking for the ballpark of 80 to 85 million euros for Victor Gyökeres, which is the sort of ballpark I was assuming it was. So that's where we're at with this. Guys let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And yeah, don't forget to hit the likes and subscribe. And we'll be back around when we have more breaking updates. So stay tuned on the channel. Take care, people. And yeah, we'll see you guys around.